And unfortunately for African Americans, this type of food was falling into a lot of our grocery stores.
Right.
We had food that was not truly organic. We had food that was not going to be the most beneficial for us if we digested it, and it led to different ailments and different medical.
But you're not talking only DC. You're talking about in general.
No, in the nation.
But no, I get exactly what you're saying. It's like with certain stuff, like, man, you got to pay the cost to be the boss sometimes. Like
Tropicana had a challenge put to them once before, because as I began to look more and more into what I was putting into me, I started then questioning where the food came from. And so Tropicana had orange juice, and they were in the newspaper one day for having a different quality of orange juice in Northwest DC than in Southeast.
We get ready to get into that. That's my next question. Fred, why is it, and I just talked to my cousin about this before he came, why is it different?
Different wards. Yeah.
We're all DC.
Yeah.
Why is it different? Because this ward
different wards got more money than this.
I'm trying to figure out what's
You can have many different thoughts, and people can be left to their own decision. But my belief, and I'm saying this is just for me, when you don't care about a people, you'll give them anything. When you don't care about a people, you will give them anything.
True.
What African Americans need to understand is that our buying power is so strong in this country that times like right now, they will do everything they can to oppress and suppress the vote. If we didn't really matter that much, if our dollars didn't have that much influence, then why would they spend so much time and energy trying to keep us from being able to express our concerns and get things out there? That's one. Then you still have those groups of people who want to see us eliminated. So they're not going to give us the best. Now, the other part is when food, organically grown food, is presented as being something that costs a lot more, that's a lie. Because if you're not putting all that extra junk on it,
it should cost less.
Why wouldn't it cost less?
Right.
So just like with when I started purchasing the milk, the raw milk was $15 a gallon.
Hold up now, Fred.
It was $15 a gallon.
But where are you getting this from?
That's
I would get those from the farmers who had dairy farms, straight from, not the pasteurized and homogenized.
Amish market?
Amish market. Well, see, the Amish cannot sell the milk direct to the public.
Okay.
But there were distributors of the milk who could get it out there. And then we have our Muslim farms. Dr. Muhammad has the connections with the green market that can provide that where you can purchase it. You can purchase the raw milk, and they would deliver it to me, or either I would meet them and go and pick it up. But $15 a gallon. Now you have families that couldn't afford regular milk when it was $5 a gallon. So how would the most beneficial milk be affordable for them if it's $15?
That's crazy.
And leaving that family and those people subject to more illnesses, more medical needs, because we're not getting the best foods put into us.
Right. Now, let me ask you this, and specifically Ward 8, where are they at as far as health? As far as statistics for the people in Ward 8, because I know you want to bring organic grocery stores.
Absolutely.
Not only in Ward 8, but throughout DC, which I've heard before.
Yes.
But I know I've heard of some locations down by Anacostia.
Yeah.
Across the river, east of the river, and they want to bring these organic grocery stores here.
Yeah. What I've already done, and not waiting till I become a council member to do it, I own a farm also in Upper Marlboro. Now, in the area are other area farmers. Now, on my farm, we have not begun to grow any vegetables or produce as of yet. We have plans to do that. But I've had discussions with area growers who all agree that you can produce organic produce much cheaper than the other stuff, because they don't have to use, again, those aggressive pesticides and preservatives while they need to ship it to South Carolina or California or sell it at a market. If they had distribution centers, and what I call for in Ward 8 is to have 6 of them. Now, you can call them a grocery store, you can call them distribution centers, but allow the people to come and purchase true organic vegetables and fruits every day. The challenge is we live in a society where we don't have enough time to go to the store every day.
Okay.
Like we used to.
Okay.
It was a daily thing to go to the market, get what you need if you didn't grow it, and do that. But we're so busy and we're so time involved with our daily lives now, we can't go to the grocery store. So we end up buying the foods. We end up going to the grocery store on Saturday and shopping for the whole next week.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of that of what we are purchasing is not good for us because it has loaded with those things that are going to cause cancer or could cause cancer and other ailments in our bodies. So some of the other things that I learned.
I never heard a candidate talk like this.
Through the treatment.
Straight up.
Yeah.
As far as health-wise.
Yeah.
This is affecting the ward.
Yes.
We're not educated.
Right. I give you something else too that people don't consider. When I had the evaluation done, and Dr. Muhammad found out that my BPA level was really high, and I said, "Where does that come from?" He says, "A lot of the foods that you consume are packaged in plastic, which is why I tell you to stay away from processed foods. Right? If it's packaged in plastic." That plastic leaks into the food.
And it's actually sitting for days and days.
Then we taking it, putting it in the refrigerator. And sometimes I break my meats down and certain stuff. I put it in another Ziploc bag.
I got a question
in my freezer. But
what do you think about the what they call them, chemtrails?
Chemtrail.
Chemtrail?
Yeah. So that's from the planes.
Yeah. What do you think about that? As far you know, they do that too. As far as like I've
seen
data, farms and stuff like that. And
I've seen data that could suggest both ways, the pluses and the minuses, the ups and the downs. But again, there's always someone to argue against what has been presented.
But what goes up always got to come down, though.
I'm concerned with it.
Yeah, me too. That's why I asked you.
Because I know as a military vet, our government hasn't always been as straight as they should be with the people. And so I wouldn't expect them to tell me when they're going to be bringing home.
I don't. That's something new.
Basically, you know how you see. You see the planes going, right?
Okay.
And you see the smoke left behind.
Okay. Yeah.
Or the smoke or the cloud, whatever.
They call that chemtrail because of chemicals.
It can be anything coming up out of there. We don't know what it is.
That will come down.
And how many planes do you see every day coming back and forth? Even jets, private jets, or military. It could be anything. I'm saying like
water.
Yeah, water.
Water is another thing. So when we look at how much, and the doctor, when he pointed out to me about the BPAs, I immediately told him, I said, "Doc, I have water every day. You taking out enough water?" I said, "I take water every day." He said, "Where you get your water?"
Yeah, what kind
I said, I buy it from the store in plastic bottles, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, "Yeah, but Doc, it's BPA free." He said, "What I want you to start drinking is distilled water. Distilled water." So
that's not the alkaline. It's something. Distilled is different.
I run to the store. I buy me couple gallons of distilled water, put it in the refrigerator. I'm good to go again, right? He said, "I didn't tell you to do that." He said, "The way they produce distilled water is they pour warm water into the plastic bottle. They put a top on it, and it immediately begins to leach the plastic back into the water. So it's not truly the most beneficial water for us. Alkaline water, yes. Our body need that. Alkaline water, yes. With a BPA-free bottle.
I think we buy like I think it's called Eccentric, something like that.
There's a few of them.
You're talking about the black and
black and red.
Essential.
Essential. It's something like that.
So they have some that are 8.5 to 9 alkaline rating. But all of that is good. But again, what I found out when it even came to plastic bottled water, alkaline water in plastic bottles.
Same thing.
I ended up investing in a filtration system, and I want to remember the name of this thing. It is phenomenal because it pulled out 99% of the contaminants. I'll think about it in a minute. If my wife is listening, she can type it in and send it to me.
Is that the filters that you can put on your kitchen faucet?
You can set it right on the countertop. You set it right on the countertop, or you can do a whole house system, which is a lot more expensive. We invested in one that we can set on the countertop. We pour the water in there, and it goes through a charcoal process of eliminating the contaminants.
Please let us know where you can get one of them from.
Please.
Yes.
Wow. What's funny about that, Fred? I think I told you this story, Kylie. Well, I had some residents from Filipino invited me over their house. They said, Phil, this is going to be the new wave in the next 5 years. Alkaline water. I'm sitting there eating Fredo. Water, it tastes the same.
Uh-huh.
And now I look back, and they have moved. They gone back to the Philippines. I said, damn, I wish I would have. Every day I'm going to 7-Eleven buying 2 bottles of this.
Yeah.
And all that's going on as far as the health scares and everything. And we've been told alkaline will be the best at this time. Yeah. Or distilled water. I use that in my
mother always been big on like water and stuff like that, as far as like toxins and stuff. Like, why you spending $100 on something to hook up to our sink to pour water? Like, why you boiling the water and like stuff like that back in the day? Like, now it's making all sense. I'm saying, like,
I want to ask COVID-19 in Ward 8. Mm-hmm. What are the numbers? How are we looking?
I don't know the exact numbers, but we at one point had the highest count of people who were sick from coronavirus, and then we at one point had the highest number of deaths in the city. I haven't looked at the stats here lately. I hear it up one day and down the next day, and all I can do is focus on making sure that we do everything we can do to protect each other by making sure, one of the things that I try to do is I always keep masks with me so that if I see people on the street that don't have them, I can give it to them. Because there's still a lot of people who feel like because it hasn't happened to me yet,
that you
I'm
can't,
all right.
Yeah, I just had my first test Monday. I would say earlier, whatever. My first, man, that thing go up with your brain. I asked the lady, I'm being funny, right? I say, what you trying to put a chip in my brain? What you killing me?
See, I took the test, but I was scared, right?
Man.
Reason I was scared, Fred, because I said, what are they putting on the tip of this Q-tip? And putting in your nose.
You can't be a conspiracy theorist.
I came back negative. It was good. Everybody in my house came back negative, so it was good. Let me ask you this, though, Fred. Do you believe this is kind of COVID-19? They don't talk about it anymore, right? We had dumped Trump, and he said it was a host. Do you believe that the stories are fabricated just a little bit as far as with COVID to take our attention off other things?
I think the worst thing that has happened with this is the miseducation.
Okay.
The miseducation for the people. And what I mean by that is when we look at the other pandemics, bird flu and some of those others that struck the United States and took the lives of a lot of people, such as the coronavirus is showing, there were similarities amongst these different pandemics as to who was attacked first or who did it touch first. And all of them, it seemed to touch the people who had weak immune systems or ailments or illnesses that were...
for older people.
Yes, or the older.
Right. They tried to put it first like us African Americans or whatever, we was the most that had it, saying, or we was, vulnerable,
or that we wouldn't, or that we wouldn't, and that was the biggest. That was the biggest thing.
Why us though?
Again, this is misinformation.
Basically,
recently, a few months ago, the question came. I was on a call with some doctors, and the question came about to why Trayon White made a comment about not taking the vaccine, and when he made that comment, it was based on the study from the Tuskegee Project, right? I'm bothered by that response because we don't even have a vaccine yet, and you're telling people not to take it. The other thing that bothers me is that you don't leave people to be smart enough to realize that we have black and white doctors now, differently than what we had during that time of the Tuskegee experiment.
and less research.
That
Man, that's what
that will
They have came back
That's 1900s,
and
right?
did more
Yeah.
research for the
that
society.
will
Right.
that will protect us
Right.
with the right information, the right data. So for you to be that removed from reality, that this thing that Tuskegee experiment could happen again, it's really crazy. It's very immature. You have to recognize there's data collected now that when a vaccine is discovered, we're months away from that. That's the other part, misinformation. Yes, we have a president that says, drink bleach and all these other crazy things.
It ain't even funny though,
because
man.
he himself doesn't know, but he hurt
It ain't even funny.
He hurt some people with that nonsense.
Yeah, he did. And he probably had a few
And-
followers that actually probably done it. I'm pretty sure you got some West Virginians up in there.
Drugs was bleach and bought a toupee.
Man, you got some West
It was
Virginians.
people that got
Yeah.
sick, but telling people they don't need to wear a mask.
Right.
And
What happened to him?
It's up in the air because being in the military and as I said before, learning that our government doesn't tell us the truth all the time. I don't really know that he has it or he doesn't have it.
Right.
Yeah,
it can be, man.
I mean,
like with that dude, man, it can be.
on one side you can
believe it, but on the other side, you like, man,
Yeah.
she bluffing.
one side.
It's election time.
Look at it. Look at it like this. Look at it like this.
All right, question. What was the name of that shack, right? I don't mean to cut you off, though. Remember the shack, right? It looked like this.
Oh, the
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking about the
back in the
vaccine. The vaccine.
It was in the 70s.
Yeah,
or
the
80s.
vaccine. So you get a vaccination shot in the shoulder.
Yeah, it's like it looked just like
that's
the
right. Yep,
It leave a mark on you like that
Just
for the
like
rest
that.
of your life. My mother still got that on her arm.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah. So
What vaccine was that for?
we were told years ago that we had to have vaccinations before we could go to school against different illnesses and threats that could come at us.
They
Right?
said that thing hurt for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it hurt.
They said hit you with the.
It was a big one too.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not a doctor, and I couldn't challenge that as a kid to say whether or not it was for me or not for me. I do know that they, like we were saying, that there's medicine that's here now that has helped a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I mean, as I'm sitting before you,
Right.
I was one who was against chemotherapy until my doctor told me I had 3 months left to try it.
God is good, man.
So
God is good. He put some smart, intelligent people on the earth to be able to like, all right, chemo work. I'm saying,
that doctor told me this. He said, "Don't drink any sugar." This is my oncologist. He said, "Fred, you never would believe how many people who have a Pepsi habit. They're addicted to Pepsi and Coke. They get their treatment, walk across the street to the 7-Eleven and go get their regular Pepsi. And that sugar immediately kills the chemo treatment.
Wow.
And then they check out of here.
Wow. Really?
So sugar is not good for us. Natural sugar, yes. Straight from the fruit that you eat, it's good. But that processed sugar, we need to stay away from it.
Yeah, I had a coffee addiction. I had to stop drinking. I ain't drink
coffee?
No, I haven't drunk coffee now. I have drunk some at work, probably like 2 different. I had 2 cups in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
I had to stop drinking it because like I had a Starbucks addiction, right? I'm getting like caramel macchiatos with the caramel on the side, the whipped cream on the top, and straight. I was drinking like 6 of them in a day just because it was convenient for me. And it keep me pumping. Like all the classes I was doing and working in classes, it keep me up. It's like an adrenaline rush.
A lot of our food eating are habits and not necessarily based off of nutrition.
Right.
So when
we're not thinking about it's healthy. We hungry. We want to eat.
We're trusting people. we believe that everybody's working in our favor. So, unfortunately, unless we educate ourselves, we fall subject to some of the stuff that's happening. We become the next guinea pig on the experiment.
Wow. It's Russ. Great interview.
Good.
What are some of the great things that have happened in Ward 8?
Most recently, the completion of the Mystics Gym up in the St. Elizabeth
Nice.
campus. Really nice facility. I'm glad to see it be that close to my home.
Okay.
And when they have different events there, I do go and visit, and boxing matches and the basketball events and other things that are done there. So I'm glad to see that type of entertainment is that close to our area. There's a talk now about having a hospital on the St. Elizabeth campus. The only problem I have with the hospital is that what they're proposing is what's called a level 2 hospital. A level 3 hospital instead of a level 2. And the level 3 hospital does not give us a full service inpatient trauma ambulatory care unit, meaning any type of emergency could be addressed at that hospital. Right now, what we have, or what they're proposing to put out, would leave us to be, as the mayor says, we're going to stabilize you if you get shot. This is the example that she used in the Washington Post some time ago. If you get shot, we're going to stabilize you, and then we'll transport you to GW, Howard, Georgetown, one of the other level 1 trauma units. The problem I have with that, on top of the fact that when I did my research, I found out that there were more people involved in car accidents in need of high-level trauma care in Ward 8 than the number of people who were shot from January to June of 2020. There were more people on construction projects that got injured and were in need of high-level trauma care than the number of people shot from January to June. Yes, that were in need of high-level trauma care. So for the mayor to
more
use...
people were injured.
Yes. In
versus
need of
being shot.
Yes. And you look at
You
the
report
number.
the news they don't want you to know. That's what I mean.
You look at the number of seniors that we have in our community, and all it would take is one untimely fall, where that senior would need immediate trauma care,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And there's no time to transport someone further. Many of the people, if we want to talk about the gunshot victims, a lot of them have died in transport. But if the hospital was there and they were able to get care within the next first 15 to 20 minutes of the incident, many of them would probably still be with us right now. So the idea of putting in a level 3 hospital is just the wrong thing to do. We need a cancer treatment facility as a part of that hospital. We need a mental health treatment as part of that hospital for the residents of the ward. And then look at this. We're asking people right now to pay us from anywhere from $500,000 to $900,000. I just saw a house the other day, $900,000 in Anacostia. And from what I understand yesterday, the contract is on that house, right behind Maple Flats Project. And we're asking people to pay $500,000 to $900,000 to live here, yet they're not going to have a hospital that they or their kids could benefit from close enough to their home in the case of a serious emergency. And I just think that's crazy. We have not broken ground on this hospital. Budgets have not been established. The council, from what I understand, has not given full approval on this hospital. And we are at the beginning stages of where we can make the change, create a level 2 emergency trauma unit within that facility. The mayor says another reason that level 2 would not be considered is because they don't see enough need to put a level 2.
Are you serious?
There would not be enough support for a level 2 hospital. But here's what I know. If you build that hospital and we have the neighboring Prince George's County that will benefit from it, all of Washington, D.C. will benefit because it will pull some of the pressure off of those in Northwest. There's 4 hospitals up there that are level 1, level 2. And you're going to pull some people from Alexandria just across the bridge because we're so close and right off the highway. You know, you're going to have more than enough. And so to not give residents in Ward 8 what we truly need is just crazy. But again, as I said on the previous show, this is where I believe we have a council that becomes an extended arm of the mayor's wishes, as opposed to an independent co-equal branch of government to say, look, you know what, we're all here to help protect the people in this city. And when certain things are done that bring harm, somebody should be speaking up. And right now we don't have anyone on the council doing that.
Now, was that one of the reasons you dropped out of the Democratic Party and went independent?
No, so
because of their views?
No, let me tell you what that was about. The Board of Elections has a rule that once the candidate submits the petitions, and I did 380 names or so in the original process, you have the right, the public has the right to challenge those petitions. The part that we were not afforded to exercise, and where the Board of Elections really did me wrong, was there's 10 days given after the challenge period has been presented.
Okay.
So somebody challenges your signatures, you find out that 200 of them are not right, and with those 200 that are not right, you're given 10 days to go back and meet with those people. I mean, and many of them on mine were the resident moved and didn't do a new voter registration updating their address. Okay. Right? Or they moved from mom's house to their own. Okay. And now they needed to do an updated registration. When I was not allowed my 10 days to cure those petitions, on the same day that they announced the challenge, the mayor instituted a no solicitation rule back in COVID, when COVID first hit. So if you think about that, on the same day that I should have been allowed, and 10 days going forward, to go out and get those other signatures so that I could get them corrected and present them back to the Board of Elections and be on the ballot, they did not do it. I protested. I went to the courts with it. The courts decided that they were going to support the idea of the board for the Board of Elections. And that's something I intend to change when I get in there as council member, because it was wrong all the way around. Now, I had to run as a write-in as a result of that. I could not be on the ballot because my signatures were challenged. I was beneath the threshold of what was needed, the 250 signatures. Right after the Board of Elections gave the ruling, they said, okay, now what we're going to do because of COVID in the general election is we're going to reduce that number to 150 names instead of 250. Now, you should have did that with me before. Because it was a direct result of COVID, of the coronavirus that we could not go out and do what we wanted to do.
I got one question for you. So if you're it's like I'm a Ward 7 resident, right? So if I'm 7, can I vote for somebody in 8?
No,
it's only for your ward.
Only for your ward on the council. Your ANCs within your ANC area, and then of course the president and vice president, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Pat Strauss up on the Congress side.
But now it's only, well, I know it's for you all, but now it's really at the top, you and Trayon.
Yeah, I know that there's Nate DeRange is a Republican, and then there's a gentleman by the name of Chris Cole, who's running as an independent also. But I took the independent route after the primaries because I had intended to run this race all the way to November anyway. The reason I signed on as a Democrat initially was to use that time to market and present my platform to the people in the city.
And how long? How long have you been wanting, as far as it been in you to run for councilman for Ward 8? How long has it been? You wanted to, you had the interest.
Yeah, these people that know me know that I spoke about this a few years back. The conversation that I had with former mayor Marion Barry before his untimely
Yeah,
passing.
I had a personal relationship with him. I used to ride around that green Jag he had, man. I used to ride. I had
good.
a real personal relationship with Marion Barry. God rest his soul.
Yes.
He used to come around my way. I used to live out in Maryland. At this time when we got displaced from Linda Poland. You know
Yes.
about the whole
Yes.
Linda Poland
Yes.
when they got shut down
Yep.
and all that stuff. They didn't,
Yeah, so I had expressed someday, council member, I'd like to do what you're doing when you're tired, when you're finished.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed, and before he passed, he had mentioned how he wanted to see young people involved in
He
politics.
was always for the youth.
And he suggested that I support Trayon White at that time because he was the young one that he was kind of working with.
I actually went to school with him.
Okay.
So
I
know.
decided I would honor his request at that time, and that's what I did. And then unfortunately he passed, and then there was a special election with LaRuby May and Trayon White. After the next general election came, and Trayon White ran. Now I didn't even desire to get into the race at that time because I was more focused on my businesses and what I could do for, returning citizens, and people in the ward who needed to know that there are business people out here that still care about helping out people get a leg up.
It's a lot.
But then this happened this year in February. I actually signed on 2 days before the deadline. So I knew that there might be some issues, even though we got enough signatures of getting on the ballot, but understanding I knew I was going to run into.
So you live in Ward 8 as well, right?
I live in Anacostia. I have for 25 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. It's a lot of foolery.
Yeah.
Man.
Trickery.
Man.
I know the last election
Man.
with Trayon White, it was some things that we had Mike Austin here.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot of